August 8th, 1944. Dawn breaks over the Norman countryside near a small village called Saint-Aignan-de-Cramesnil. The morning mist clings to the hedgerows like smoke. In the distance, the rumble of tank engines echoes across the fields, a sound that's become all too familiar in this war-torn corner of France. Inside Tiger Tank number 007, SS Hauptsturmführer Michael Wittmann adjusts his throat microphone. He's 30 years old, but his eyes carry the weight of 100 battles. On his collar, the Knight's Cross with oak leaves gleams, one of Germany's highest military honors. The Allies have given him a different title, the Black Baron. His tank crew calls him something simpler, the best there ever was. In just 4 years, this farmer's son from Bavaria has destroyed over 130 enemy tanks and assault guns. He's a legend, a propaganda icon, the face of the Panzer forces. But today, something feels different. Today, the hunter might become the hunted. This is the story of Michael Wittmann, not the myth, but the man. And more importantly, it's the story of his last day alive. Before we witness the end, we need to understand the beginning. Michael Wittmann wasn't born to be a warrior. He was born in 1914 to a farming family in Vogeltal, a tiny village where everyone knew everyone, and the biggest excitement was the harvest festival. As a boy, he helped his father in the fields, went to church on Sundays, and dreamed of, well, probably not much beyond the next valley. But history had other plans. When war broke out in 1939, Wittmann enlisted. Not in the Panzer forces, no, he started in the reconnaissance units, riding motorcycles and armored cars. Imagine that. The future tank ace began his career on 2 wheels, racing through Polish forests and French countryside, scouting enemy positions. It wasn't until 1941 that Wittmann got his first taste of tank warfare. And once he did, it was like a pianist finding the perfect instrument. He had something that couldn't be taught, an almost supernatural ability to read terrain, to anticipate enemy movements, to know exactly where his tank needed to be and when. His crew noticed it first. His loader, his gunner, his driver. They'd tell stories in the barracks, how Wittmann could spot an enemy tank before anyone else, how he remained calm when shells were exploding all around, how he'd whisper tactical adjustments in the same tone you'd use to order breakfast. The kills started adding up. 5 tanks, 10, 20. By the time he was fighting on the Eastern Front, facing endless waves of Soviet T-34s, the number climbed to 50, then 80. But it was one battle that made him a legend. June 13th, 1944. 7 days after D-Day. The Allies are pushing inland, and a British armoured column is advancing through the small French town of Villers-Bocage. They're confident, maybe too confident. The road ahead looks clear. Michael Wittmann, commanding a single Tiger tank, is hidden in the foliage just off the road. He watches the British column roll past. Tanks, half-tracks, armoured cars, all lined up like ducks in a shooting gallery. His gunner, Balthazar Voll, whispers, "Herr Hauptsturmführer, that's the entire British 7th Armoured Division." Wittmann's response, "I know," and then he attacks, alone, one Tiger against an entire armoured column. What happens next defies military logic. In 15 minutes of absolute chaos, Wittmann's tank tears through the British formation like a shark through a school of fish. He destroys tanks from the rear, then spins around and destroys their support vehicles. The British can't coordinate, can't respond, can't even figure out how many German tanks they're facing. By the time the smoke clears, Wittmann has destroyed or disabled over 20 Allied vehicles. The British retreat in disarray. One tank, one man, one impossible victory. Churchill himself is briefed on the disaster. The British call it the Villers-Bocage ambush. But here's what they don't tell you in the propaganda films. Wittmann knew the war was lost. By August 1944, Germany is being crushed from all sides. The Eastern Front is collapsing. The Allies own the skies. And Normandy? Normandy is a meat grinder. Everyone knows it. The question isn't if Germany will lose, but when. So why does Michael Wittmann keep fighting? There's a letter Wittmann wrote to his wife, Hildegard, just weeks before he died. In it, he doesn't talk about victory or glory. He talks about his crew, about keeping them alive, about doing his duty, not to the Reich or the Führer, but to the men who trusted him. This is the part of Wittmann's story that's complicated, that makes us uncomfortable. Because here's the truth. Michael Wittmann was a member of the Waffen-SS. He fought for one of the most evil regimes in human history. There's no sugarcoating that. But talk to his crew members who survived the war, and they'll tell you something unexpected. They'll say Wittmann wasn't political, that he rarely talked about ideology, that when they were trapped in their tank, under artillery fire, listening to shells impact against armor, he wasn't thinking about conquering Europe. He was thinking about getting his boys home. War history is full of these paradoxes. Good men fighting for bad causes. Brave soldiers serving evil systems. Wittmann was a tactical genius and by all accounts a decent commander who cared for his men. He was also fighting to preserve a regime that was committing genocide. Both things can be true, and both things matter. By August 1944, Wittmann has been offered numerous opportunities to step back from combat. He's done enough. He's a propaganda icon. They want him giving speeches, appearing in newsreels, selling war bonds. He refuses. My place is with my men, he says. His superiors think it's dedication. His wife thinks it's stubbornness. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's guilt. Or maybe it's the only thing he knows how to do anymore. So here we are. August 8th, Saint-Aignan-de-Cramesnil. Operation Totalize has begun. A massive Canadian offensive designed to break through German lines and push toward Falaise. Hundreds of Allied tanks are rolling south. The Germans have maybe a dozen Tigers in the area. The math doesn't work. It can't work. But someone has to try to stop them. Wittmann receives his orders. Take a group of Tigers, advance toward the village of Sinto, and delay the Allied advance. It's a suicide mission dressed up as tactics. He doesn't argue. He climbs into Tiger 007 with his crew. Gunner, loader, driver, radio operator. These men have been with him through dozens of battles. They trust him completely. The Tigers roll out. Around 12:30 p.m., they encounter the enemy. But this isn't like Villers-Bocage. This time, the Allies are ready. Sherman Fireflies, British tanks with upgraded 17-pounder guns capable of penetrating Tiger armor, are hidden in the tree lines. So are Canadian tank destroyers. Wittmann leads from the front, as always. His Tiger emerges from behind a ridge, searching for targets. And then it happens. Multiple accounts, multiple witnesses, all saying slightly different things. Some say it was a Sherman Firefly from the British Northamptonshire Yeomanry that fired the fatal shot. Others credit a Canadian Sherman. Still others claim it was a rocket-firing Typhoon aircraft. What everyone agrees on, Tiger 007 is hit. The armor-piercing round penetrates the Tiger's weaker top armor, possibly through an open hatch. The ammunition inside detonates. The explosion is massive. The 68-ton tank literally lifts off the ground. The turret is blown clean off, tumbling through the air before crashing down 20 feet away. Fire erupts from every opening. There are no survivors. others: Balthasar Wohl, Heinrich Reimers, Rudolf Hirschel, Karl Wagner. The Allies don't know who they've killed. Not immediately. The Tiger is just another destroyed German tank on a battlefield full of them. It's not until after the war, when military historians start piecing together records and witness statements, that they realize that burning Hulk in the Norman field was the most dangerous tank commander the world has ever seen. Michael Wittmann's body wasn't found until 1983. For nearly 40 years, he was just another name on a missing-in-action list. When archaeologists finally excavated the site, they found human remains mixed with shattered metal, everything fused together by the heat of the explosion. He was buried with military honors in the German cemetery at Le Camp in Normandy. The same cemetery holds over 21,000 other German soldiers, most of them younger than him. So what do we make of Michael Wittmann? He was undeniably skilled, a tactical genius who pushed armored warfare to its limits. He was, by the accounts of those who knew him, personally brave and loyal to his men. These things are factually true, but skill and bravery aren't the same as righteousness. The Wehrmacht and the SS enabled atrocities. The war Wittmann fought in was a war of aggression and genocide. His military victories, however impressive, served an evil cause. History isn't simple. We want our heroes pure and our villains monstrous, but real people are neither. They're complicated, contradictory, capable of both courage and complicity. What we can say is this: Wittmann represents something that transcends any individual soldier. He represents the ultimate futility of trying to win an unwinnable war through individual brilliance. By August 1944, it didn't matter how skilled he was, how many tanks he destroyed, how brave his last stand. Germany had lost. The math had been run. The only question was, how many more had to die before it ended? Wittmann chose to die with his men, in his tank, doing what he did best. There's something tragically noble in that, even if the cause wasn't. Today, military historians still study his tactics. Video games turn him into a playable character, and every year, military history enthusiasts visit that field in Normandy, trying to pinpoint exactly where Tiger 007 met its end. The Tiger tanks are gone now. The men who fought in them, on both sides, are nearly all dead. But the story remains, not as propaganda, not as glorification, but as a reminder that war wastes everything it touches, even genius, especially genius. Michael Wittmann was the best tank commander the world has ever seen. And on a sunny afternoon in August, in a French field that probably looks peaceful today, that wasn't nearly enough.